So here's my game. So it took me, what is that, a day and probably a half to finish the game. Full playtime. And then there's a bunch of just extra, well, not too much extra playing around. And it was very casual, no competition. There we go. So I made this, I guess I finished the game. I just need to walk. So this is my save right before you've just finished the game. You walk to the, or I shouldn't say walk, but you go to the last point and the game's over. So this is right before that. I saved it and I've been just continuing to play like the open world. And I wanted to, I feel like I still kind of want to play a bit, listen to the jukebox songs that are great, and just show my bases, because I'm curious of your locations and your bases and how you constructed them. So I'm just going to show you my locations and bases. They may not be ideal, they're just where I happen to choose, and so I'll explain why I chose where I chose my bases and how I designed them, and a bunch of my other tips and things I figured out. No spoilers at all about the story, just I guess whatever you see, more technologies there, so you might see that kind of thing, which technologies I found, but that's, I don't think it's a big deal. I totally finished the first Subnautica as well before this, and I think this game is still great. It's different. I think this is much more user-friendly, I should say, beginner-friendly, because the game progresses in a more natural way. There's not as much just lost time. I mean, like being lost and not knowing what to do. In this one, it kind of pushes you through the story in a normal pacing. And I needed to look up 2 things online. Actually, I didn't have to look them up. I actually beat the game, and then I looked up how to do 2 things that I didn't figure out during my whole playtime. Okay, so before I forget those, the 2 things I had to search on the internet to know how to do. One is, and I already beat the game before I figured these out, because I thought I'm gonna figure this out, or I'm just gonna keep playing until it just comes into my story naturally, and it never happened. And maybe I didn't experiment enough. Okay, one of them is, and this is game designer feedback here, because I had to look these up online. So one is the coffee machine. Maybe I didn't listen to them carefully, but I didn't know how to use this damn thing. When you open it, I need another titanium if I can build this quickly, hopefully. So I'm playing on the PlayStation 4 here. It is, I feel like it is, there are a lot of glitches in that, you'll probably see it, but still, oh yeah, use feedback. I did not use feedback. There's a bunch of like little glitches and bugs, but definitely still an awesome game and didn't bother me too much. Okay, so this coffee machine, I don't have another titanium. I'd have to, so that's one tip, is you can just deconstruct stuff in your base and use the materials and construct something else at different times in the game. So this I did a lot because I guess I'm more, my whole style, as you see, you will see, is very casual, kind of lazy as in, like, I don't particularly enjoy going out and farming for materials. I mean, I don't mind it, but I don't want to just be like, oh, I want to build another massive base and just start looking for materials and hoarding them and storing them in dozens of these storage containers and shit. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I just have what I need for the most part, and a few luxuries, I guess you could say, when I had extra material on hand and I didn't go out separately. So the coffee machine, you actually have to put the thermos into there. So they said it was made from beans, or I don't know, I forget what they say when you first build the coffee machine, something about beans. So I thought I had to put some kind of plant material into there, because every other thing you do in the game is you put in the materials and then it creates what it is. So I thought I had to put beans or some kind of plant material into this, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't think at all about putting the thermos itself, only the thermos, to get hot coffee, and I think it just raises your temperature when you're in a cold land area. So I actually never used it. I think I filled the thermos once, I figured that out, and I never drank from it. And I think it's in some other base. I don't know where it is. So I didn't even use it. So that's one thing I had to look up how to use after I beat the game. The other thing I had to search was where this material is, spiral plant clipping. I had no idea where this was. I was searching and looking at all the plants all over the game, in late game, because I needed them and I couldn't find them. I had no idea where the plant was, so I looked up spiral plant. You know, I was looking at this, all these different, where is that? Survival, no, where is that? Research, life forms, flora. So I was looking through, and I read through every one of these, and I could not find spiral plant. I was looking for spiral plant in here to see what it looks like. Oh, look, there it is. It was because I never actually discovered it, I guess. So I didn't know where to get it, and I actually beat the game without getting any spiral plant, and I had no idea about this plant and where to find it until after I already finished the game. So I had to search online and found out it was in I think they said the purple vent area, although I still haven't seen it there. And the other, like, very obvious, easy place to find is the vent garden inside the giant, like, jellyfish thing. Which I didn't know. I think I came across that, and there was some, they talked about something, and maybe they mentioned it in these PDA discussions here, but I think I was busy exploring or running away from some monster. I can't remember. I got distracted, and I never went back there. I never went back inside. I never thought to go back, and I should have. And so I ended up going back in there and picking up a bunch of spiral plants at the end of the game when I already beat it. And how I beat it without those was, so you need them to make synthetic fibers. Synthetic fibers, you need the spiral plant clipping. And so actually, in the ice area in the west of the map, I forget what it's called, I found 2 synthetic fibers, like, already made in some kind of, like, sealed container that you open up. I found 2 synthetic fibers, and I think that allowed me to make the depth module or something that you actually needed for the vehicle. Where is it? Oh yeah, the prawn suit depth module 1, which I guess technically you might not need if you use the C-Truck only. Oh yeah, so C-Truck Mach 2, that's what I used 1 for. I prioritized because I knew I couldn't find the spiral plant clipping, so I thought really hard about what should I do in order to progress in the game. So I made the C-Truck depth module Mach 2 with the synthetic fibers that I found. And then look, you don't need it for those. Okay, so that's just 1. And then if you use the C-Truck, oh right, I did have to get them the prawn suit Mach 2 upgrade to get to even find the kyanite and nickel ore, so maybe I did have to get the prawn one too. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I did use the prawn. I can't remember what I used the second one on. It was probably this prawn suit death module. Yeah, so that's it. Those are the two things that maybe I didn't look enough or something, didn't search around enough, or I would have had to read through all of these PDA discussions, I think, in order to find it, which I didn't do. I went through this whole thing. I read every single one of these and all the exploitable ones, but it doesn't appear here until you actually, scan it with your scanner. So that wasn't helpful, I guess, until you actually find it. Okay. Oh man, this could be a long video if I go through this like that so thoroughly. So this is my base. This is my main base. This is evolved over time. So I actually, oh yeah, this is totally different. So I used to have a tunnel through there. Was my initial base. I'll just show you right there. This was my initial starting base right there on this platform. It was one of those. So this guy's pretty loud, pretty aggressive, but don't hurt you that much. And they are a bit annoying around this area. So if you find that annoying, maybe you wouldn't build here, but it's a pretty convenient area otherwise. And you can also beat them to a pulp with the prawn suit relatively easy if you want to get rid of them. Although I think they come back. Yeah, I've killed like probably 5 of them and they come back. So this has totally evolved my base since the beginning. I think there's only those 2 entrances now. Oh, I removed that entrance. So maybe it's only these moon pools now. Yeah, you can only go. So I got dual moon pools here. Maybe I'll just mention the location itself. So there's geothermal from these here, which I'm using one as like a backup, which I found this was late in the game to get those materials, so I added that very late, and I didn't even really need it, I guess. I started off with solar panels here initially, which I think I recycled. I think I wiped them out to get the copper and titanium, but I started with solar panels and a bioreactor for a long time. But basically this is what's it called? The spiral cord, what is it? I forget what it's called. I could go over there quickly perhaps. There's that spiral, I should have taken the sea truck, it'd be faster. So basically that spot is between these 2 major biomes, and this biome has most of the basic materials, the early game materials. This area, if you recognize it. So this place has like the coral and quartz and all that kind of stuff, copper, titanium, and it's pretty deep. And you can go as deep as you can go at the time. There's the kelp here, what do they call it? Kelp. And actually down there, there's kelp with the seed clusters. Further down there, there's a kind of different biome with like sea monkey tunnels down here. I can check it out quickly. Perhaps, yeah, maybe you can see one. I better get some oxygen here. Okay, back down. There's a platform with a severed cable with an electrical spark flashing underwater. I think people are familiar with that. It's pretty easy to find. It's probably 200 or 300 meters away from my base. I don't have it marked right now. I hid the mark. So that gives you another idea where my base is. And the Delta station is fairly close to, there it is, Delta Station Dock. So 400 meters northeast, is it, from the Delta Station Dock. And then there's got some crabs here, got loads of that's lead, silver, gold is here, lithium, is here, and I think crystalline sulfur is around here as well, and this purple vent biome right next to it. So this turned out to be quite a good location, but yeah, so in the early game I kept on going over that way, get the basic materials, and then later in the game I could just kind of stay over here mostly and get all these other later game materials. Not all of them, but most of them. So that's the location, which I think is pretty darn good.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
There's double doors here, which this was an accident when I built the moon pool. I think I did it somewhere else where I built the moon pool right next to this this larger base structure, and there is like a double door. So I did that on purpose with the moon pools. Got the double doors here for the two vehicles. Yeah, so I've modified this a lot, and I wanted to add all the major technology pieces to this base. And so I added this huge, large room after when I discovered it, but that's why I built it very late, and I didn't really need it. I just wanted to build it under the glass dome and see the view here. And so I didn't actually fully build it out, because this was at the end of the game basically. I didn't even need this. So I'll show you my base. I guess you've already seen it, but I've seen other people have this greenery area room that's totally separate, but for me, I just want to grab my food for the road and grab my batteries if they're charging and get going and do everything quickly.
Vital signs stabilizing.
So I'm more practical. I just want to grab it and go, and come back, use the fabricator, put on some music, which I should have done already. And I've only ever had about maybe 4 lockers at a time in a single base, and I recycled those into just these 2 in this base now. Because I find myself always looking in every locker trying to find the material that I put there. So I ended up with just 2 lockers here. This modification station, I recycled and moved the same station. I actually moved this way to my other base, and then I deconstructed it and put it back here again. I only built 1. There's lead, diamond, titanium, and I think the other one is an advanced wiring kit, which is really annoying to make. So I recycled this and used all the materials in one case, and then I had to find all the materials and build it again. So that's how I play. This water machine I used throughout most of the game until I got the water filtration wetsuit, which I'm using now. So with this, you get all these reclaimed water packs, and you never need water again. You don't need to collect it ever again with this suit, but I got this almost at the end of the game. So I used these for most of the game, but now that I have the suit, I actually don't need these machines anymore. They take up a ton of energy or power from your base. It's not enough power to have one, bioenergy, what's that called? Where is it? Bioreactor. Yeah, so bioreactor is really easy to make, and it's probably the best first thing to make if you can't make solar panels, if you're too deep or something. So this bioreactor is definitely the best thing to start a base with if you're not in a solar area. But one of those is not enough to power a little base and one of these water filtration machines. So that really bugged me. I'll show you later. I had a big frustration with one of my other bases that was just an outpost. So every base I think I made this scanner room to explore. I was trying to find different deeper locations in the map. So I think I have this maxed out with the range upgrades, which you need magnetite for, which is very late game. So I came back and put those in much later in the game. And the range is, you can see the scan range is 500 meters. So if you were very meticulous in scanning the whole map, you could set them, 1,000 meters apart with a scanner scanning 500 meters in every direction, including depth. So if you really wanted to scan everything, but the scanner is very glitchy for certain things, materials, somehow in this game, where it'll show that it's there, but it's actually not there. And it'll show you places, I think it shows you places where it was even, that you already picked it up. So that's really frustrating for a lot of materials. So I find the scanner is like kind of useful, but I actually was intending to look at the map just like this and find the depth areas, the really deep areas to explore. Because going in and out of every single little hole takes a long time and you get confused at where you are. So that would be a huge tip, is using beacons, but I wouldn't label every hole or anything like that. I'll just show you the rest of my base here. I got into the alien containment here with the glass dome, totally unnecessary, and this with glass dome too. And I just, at the end, because I was building so much, I just ended up putting this whole thing with reinforcements for the structure in this every wall of this, which is pretty convenient. I think I discovered pretty much all the eggs that I found. I discovered the animals, so I'm kind of done with that. And food, because I have the water filtration suit, so this fevered pepper is definitely the best in the game when you find it. It's way better than shrub nuts that you find initially, because it's 15 food and 15 water. So you can kind of just grab, I don't know, 10 of these. I usually have 2 of these around, but I don't need it so much anymore, so I only have 1 here. But initially it's shrub nuts, but those are just good for food mostly, 15, and you got to eat a ton of them to get water. It's only 5 water, but they give you health, which is better. So after I found these fevered peppers, I never went back to shrub nuts, or I never even like made many fish either. I cooked many fish after I had those. Yeah, and so I had put a bunch of, you'll see in my other base, I have tons of fish in here to cook, but I never cooked like any of them. I never needed them. It's a control room, you can change the base color, look at the palette, every time of day, turn off section. So I definitely did, I used to turn off like the scanner room and things when I was leaving the base to save power, because it does store and just waste if you're running it, but I guess I don't need that anymore. I don't need to save that anymore. Yeah, that's pretty much, oh yeah, this is just the main floor. So I'll go down, you probably heard the nuke plant down there. So I was thinking about expanding this whole like second level initially, but then I ended up just putting the power plant here because it was loud. And so my whole game playthrough, I have still never completely used one reactor rod. I never had to dispose of any reactor rods in this waste disposal. So I think my other base, I have a nuclear power plant and no waste disposal. I have never discarded a rod before. So I don't know if that's because I'm using mostly energy from the geothermal plant I got over there, or what, or I have no idea how long these rods last. And actually I found most of these rods in the game as well. I barely made any of these. I don't even think I did make any of them. I think I found all of them in the game. So nuke plant itself is relatively easy to build for materials. Yeah, so yeah, plasteel ingot, which uses lithium, advanced wiring kit, can't remember, and lead. So those are fairly easy materials to find, even mid-game. But you can't find the uranium because it's too deep. But you do find the rods, and so it is worth just building the reactor and using the free rods you find in the game. I haven't, like I said, I haven't even used one full rod yet, and I beat the game. And then the upstairs. So this is totally unnecessary luxury up here. I decided, all right, I'll build my captain's quarters. So this is my captain's quarters here. I just filled it out with all the pictures I found. I just added a shower recently. Got all the pictures and whatnot. Luxury bed, luxury desk. Got my dome, and I can look down at my base, and I was also curious of the monsters around the area before I go out. Oh, I had a light there because it gets dark sometimes. I wanted to see the sea truck sitting out there safely. And I think I didn't have a magnetite left when I came back here to build this toy. Do I have one now? Maybe not. Built that later. Yeah, I have one in another base, but I didn't have a magnetite left here. So this is totally unnecessary. But I actually sat in this chair and read all of this material, like in probably 2 or 3 sessions of sitting in this chair when I was just chilling out reading all the material, seeing if I miss anything during the game. Yeah, that's the base. So that's my main base. And now, so that's the main base. What was I gonna? Oh yeah. So I guess I will show you base number 2. So this is base 1. Now where is base 2? Base 3. I'm gonna have to turn it on. So this was my initial base. As I mentioned, it evolved. The other bases didn't really evolve. I just built them and used them, and that was it. I just built them at the time I needed them and had what I needed in there, and didn't waste time building more onto them, but they're kind of interesting. Oh, there's base 2. So I didn't build a control room, so it doesn't have the beacon installed as a default. Default. Okay, what is this? Oh, that's my jukebox. I'll have to bring that. So base 2 is close to the initial pod that you kind of start off with. It's fairly close to that. I built it later.
I take a deep dive.
Come on, some music here. Okay, and base 2. So I built this later to explore, like 500 meters away, so I actually didn't know the max range of the scanner at that time. So it should be 1,000 meters away. But I think I also specifically built it near this deep area, searching for material. I was searching for the rare materials, I think, with the scanner. So this base 2 is my most minimalist outpost. So it's pretty cool. I haven't seen anybody else build something like. Oh, I haven't watched that many videos, but it's pretty cool. Oh yeah, so also in the first game and this game, I also always thought you had to build a foundation in order to build a base onto it, and I only realized you didn't have to do that, like, yesterday. So this is not necessary. Oh, and I wanted it to hang over the cliff. Yeah, so it's not completely minimalist, but pretty damn minimalist. So I don't even need this floodlight. I think I put it there to find the base because I didn't have a beacon. I can't remember. One solar panel, that's it. And it's actually just a scanner room. It's a scanner room, a bike, and the power is one solar panel. And I built plants because I thought I would need it at the time. It was still early game, but I totally don't need that here. So you could be more minimalist if you like, but this is the basic idea, is just to scan a room to see the area as an outpost. And food. So initially I mentioned I was eating these shrub nuts, and then later on I came back and I threw in a pepper and grew one of those. I had a battery charger. That was before I had the rechargeable fins. 2 storage lockers. What's in here? Oh, lithium. Oh, I got a fabricator. And a health kit. I think I came back and just took all the materials out because I wasn't going to come back here again. I only used it to scan to find... Oh, wow, there's diamonds here? Oh, there's way more materials here now, I think, than when I initially built this. Gel sack? And diamonds? Huh. I feel like those weren't there when I first made this, but anyway, that's the minimalist outpost right here. And I never built many. I didn't build many of the power cell chargers because you can just. I just brought extra power cells with me usually when I go. I'll just carry 2 on my person and just replace them out and keep going, and then eventually come back to a base that has a charger or a moon pool, because the moon pool charges your power cells automatically, so you don't actually need a power cell charger once you have a moon pool. So I recycled those as well. I never used them again after I got the moon pool. Okay, so now base 3. I've got a base 3 here, if you give me a moment, and I might... Yeah, so base 3 is basically by the Omega Lab. Oh, so there we go. So this is, I think it's called is it the lily pad or floating islands biome? And underneath that is there's a bunch of sea monkeys and a ton of the technology to scan at the sea monkey nests underneath. And so I built this. It's also right next to the last known location of the pilot that shows up. It's pretty close to that as well. And that's why I thought I would need it a lot, this base 3. And I actually did need it when I came through here as a basic safety and food and water area and scanning location. But this is kind of a minimalist base. See the draw distance is not so great. I don't know if it's places my settings here. Okay, so there's a scanner room. And I built a control room. Oh yeah, I'll explain that inside. So this, I'm not proud of this base particularly. So I have a bioreactor, because it's deep, it's so deep, I needed just a bioreactor. I didn't have the other materials to build something else at the time, and I wanted to scan to find all of the, what do you call it, fragments, yeah. I wanted to scan to find all the fragments and potentially other materials like diamond, which because a couple of the, oh, it's here now. Oh, diamond wasn't here when I searched for it, when I was here looking for it. It wasn't in the list, which means it wasn't around. But 2 of the sea monkeys gave me diamonds. They just handed me diamonds, so I thought there were diamonds around, so I built this post and I wanted to find more diamonds. And I only got those 2 diamonds the sea monkeys gave me, and I never found any more in this area. But now, for some reason, it's showing up on my scanner. That's weird. So this so I mentioned this bioreactor has not much charge here, but Yeah, so I was explaining before, once you build this filtration machine that starts filtering for water, it runs the power all the way to 0 or 1, and it keeps flicking at 1, and then there's not enough power to use the fabricator, and that's a total disaster. You can't do anything. And this is totally unused. I think I did actually have fish in there, and I ate them all. Yeah, so it ran down to 1 or 0, and then I couldn't use this fabricator, and then I had to just leave. And it doesn't, so you'll have 0 power until the filtration machine finishes making all the water, and you can't, and then you got to leave it. You can't get these out, or it'll start running again. So I had to leave it full, and so that really sucks. So I wouldn't even recommend having like a 1-in-1, 1 bioreactor and 1 filtration machine. It's kind of pointless, unless you will just let the water get filtered and leave the base until it's finished. So I actually built this control center, I forget what is the proper term here, but I built this to turn off the power to the scanner to save energy in order to use the fabricator, which is so ridiculous, and that helped a little bit. Also, there were squid sharks around here that kept putting holes in my base. This is reversed. Kept putting holes in my base, and I think these modules are directly built together. I didn't use any of the tubing, and you have to use these compartments. You have to use these compartments in order to build these bulkheads. So I wanted to build a bulkhead here, but you can't. You have to have a tube connecting the two compartments. But these are built directly next to each other, and this compartment comes with the scanner room and the control center as I built them. So I could not build a bulkhead, and I just had to keep repairing holes. So this base was really annoying to maintain, but I definitely used it in this location a lot, coming and going through here. But it's a good place. The location so as I mentioned, it's by the last one, pilot location, whatever it's called, and by the Omega base. So it's a convenient location. It is just an outpost. But you see it's too deep. You can actually get a little bit of power from the sun, because I saw the sun rays shining through here. So I built the solar panel to try to solve my problem too. And let's see, it does have a tiny bit of energy. I think it shows, yeah. Sun 0%. I think it's time of day. I'd have to check the time of day. I did see, I think max 12% here. Oh yeah, so the sun's coming up, 3%. So there's a tiny charge you can get out of here in the daytime, even though it's 180 meters deep. And that's partially supplemented my issues. But this whole location is terrible for finding materials. I couldn't find copper much. I did find it, but it was really slow finding materials in this area. So I do not recommend this area at all for building a base. An outpost, a tiny outpost, yes. It was just, I was annoying. So there was the squid sharks annoying me. So that was my third base. Fourth base was, actually I have one called base 4, but it's because I completely forgot about my Phi Robotics base, so that is technically my base number 4, is the ice area. And I heard about people not liking that land area, and they said it was kind of short, but it actually is kind of long too. And you had to build the snow fox and everything, so I figured, okay, I'm just going to build a base right away before I even explore the land at all, because you get cold and you can just die quickly. So I figured, alright, I'm going to need to build a base and do a lot of work here, so I built a base. So I will go down Yeah, the land area is not, yeah, I kind of agree, it's not that fun of an area. It's important, obviously, but I figure I'll make the best of it and build a decent base to get through it. And I just, yeah, so I had the Delta, when you go to the Delta station, you'll see a map of the whole world and the different Altera bases. And so I took a screenshot of the map and put it on this sleeping module initially before. I put it right there so I could just check the map, check where I was going, to go to each of the Altera locations or find them. That was much later in the game I started doing that. Well, after I was like exhausted from building outposts and scanner rooms and looking around and not finding the bases or anything else other than materials. For the story part, I just figured, all right, I'm just going to go directly to those. I think you were supposed to do that a lot earlier than I did, but that was after I was done exploring myself. I decided, all right, I'm just going to use the map and go there to progress. I haven't been here in a long time. After I was finished with this island, I never came back. But this was the first place I found magnetite, so that was pretty nice. And there's tons of materials like on the land as well, so it's definitely, it's relatively easy to build a base here. Oh yeah. Yeah, so this is the main entrance, I think, to the robotics center. So this is the original landing pad. Is that those stairs? And I just figured, you know what? I'm just gonna build a base over this, so I don't have to use those stairs. And I wanted it to be on land because you got to build the snow fox. But I also, at the time, I didn't have the water filtration suit, so I wanted the water filtration machine. So that's why I built this connecting spot right into the ocean, just for the water filtration machine. That's the only reason. This is the only reason why I built this connecting into the water. And I thought it'd be pretty cool, obviously, but I didn't have the moon pool technology yet, so I didn't build a moon pool. And of course, I got a scanner room to find materials and look around the map. And I found, you know, I could find more base building materials. And I think around that time I also found this large room technology or plans. So I built that. Loads of these fever pepper trees, as I mentioned, I usually just load up and eat all those. And they give you heat, which you really need here in this land area. And I just throw a bunch in this bioreactor. Oh yeah, so this place, I have solar panels outside. I think I have 3 solar panels plus this. Because, yeah, the bioreactor is kind of annoying to maintain. Not that annoying, but a little bit annoying. So I have solar panels outside because, as I mentioned, the water filtration machine runs down this to 0. So you need something extra to keep the fabricator going. So this is where I had no idea how to operate the vending machine when I needed it, but I guess I didn't really need it because I had these fevered peppers. I also never made any of the fruit salads. I never made one of them. And I never made a salt water pack with snow. I never did that either. Didn't need to do it. So that's this base. And then there's my snow fox. That's another little tip. There's a flashlight right on the what's this called? This sea moth? No. Is it a sea moth? There's a flashlight here, so you don't need to even create the flashlight by itself. This is totally pointless because there's a flashlight built into this sea moth, whatever it's called. This helps you swim faster. You need this pretty much definitely in the whole game. So I got the snow fox there, as I mentioned, on the materials. Got extra solar panels. Yeah, 3 solar panels. That's pretty much all I needed. Yeah, so this is technically my real base 4. Okay. So that. Oh, getting cold out here. I didn't realize. Okay. Yeah, so now I'll just show you my last base location, which is much deeper, much later in the game. So if you don't want to see that, this is kind of a spoiler. This is the location, but it's very deep, so you wouldn't even be able to go there if you knew where it was and you weren't progressed in the game enough if you don't have that technology. So I'm going to go there to what I labeled as base 4. That should be actually base 5. It's down with the ghost. This ghost, a shadow Leviathan, they're called. So these sea monkeys, at the beginning of the game, they steal your stuff and then drop it somewhere, and you got to go find it. And then later on, one came up to me, and I started slashing him, trying to kill him as fast as possible. I slashed and slashed him, and stabbed him, and he didn't. Ah, jeez. Holy crap! And he didn't. I didn't actually kill him, but then I saw the text saying like, "Oh, he's friendly. Here you go. Here's some titanium." I was like, "Oh, I was just slashing him to death." So suddenly they turned friendly, and I slashed him up real good before knowing he was friendly suddenly. Yeah, so ignore the text, I guess, and the location if you don't want to know where this is. But yeah, if you'll enjoy the music and scenery until I get there, because it's there. So originally, yeah, I think I had mentioned, so the synthetic fibers I used for the prawn suit depth first, and the prawn suit could dive much deeper with that. The prawn suit, I think, depth module 1 was it, but for this sea truck you needed the module 2 in order to get down that deep. So I went down there only with the prawn suit initially, and I did all that down there and with the prawn suit. But then down there I ended up running away. I mean, I literally got out of the prawn suit and was hiding in a tunnel away from a shadow Leviathan, and he ended up completely destroying my prawn down there. And I lost it, and I had to swim all the way back to the I swam all the way back to the base, and then I had to swim from there all the way to the surface. So all the way through here, I had to come back through here and go back to the sea truck. So maybe just ignore that. It's not that big a deal. It's seriously not a big deal. Just keep going deeper here. Actually, I don't know this area very well. I'm just kind of trying to go deeper here. I get lost here pretty easy. Yeah, so I swam all the way back. I had just my sea truck, and then I had the materials on me to make the sea truck depth module 3, and I ended up finishing the game with the sea truck, I didn't rebuild the prawn suit until after I already finished everything in the game. So I didn't need the prawn suit after I got the depth mod, the third depth module for the sea track. So you kind of only need either or. But the prawn suit So I was just exploring down here and running away. Oh, that worked. So I was running away from him, and I was like, I gotta build a base down here, I need safety, and I just ran over here and built this base quickly. I actually didn't have the materials. He doesn't come over this far, so he's like, if I go right on that space, he'll chase me down, but right here, he doesn't come this far. And so I quickly built this beginning section of the base right there, and the entrance, and a scanner room, of course, and then the control room, and the thermal came much later. I think I didn't have a few materials for it when I came. So down here, a lot of the materials are down here, but a few are missing. Like there's no creep vine, so you can't make rubber and that kind of thing, which you actually need for some of these items. I can't remember which, but some important items need it, like bulkhead and yeah, I didn't have them when I came over down here. Oh shit, there it is. Okay, I'm running away. What kind of running away here? I think you will come all the way over if you see me. So I built that small section of the base, and I didn't have the materials for a fabricator. So I couldn't build anything down here. I couldn't do anything without the fabricator. I couldn't build, I had no power, so I had no oxygen, and I just built the structure with some titanium and the basic layout. And then I had to go all the way back, get some basic materials, and come back again before I could actually live out of this base. So that's definitely, if you're going to go and explore and build a new base, you should have the materials on you already for what you're going to build as basic stuff, especially a fabricator. I didn't have one so then I ended up, as I mentioned, a lot of the materials are around here, and so I could build the rest of this over time. So it's only that initial entrance and this moving forward.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Okay, so we'll flick on some music here. Yeah, right, so I was just collecting materials. I was really down here with the prawn suit only originally, so this was the prawn suit, and I was just collecting materials, dumping them here. Yeah, so I was just collecting materials with the prawn suit down here and dumping them into those boxes. Battery charger, as I mentioned, you only need the power cell charger once you have the neutral because it charges the power cells. Fabricator here. Oh, I do have a couple more, but you see, most of these are empty. I didn't even need to build all these. I kind of imagined I would be collecting a lot more, but I didn't. Or maybe I used them all later, I don't know. Of course, you got the filtration machine. I still didn't have the water filtration suit, even leaking. Nuclear power plant. Is it done? No. Inactive. Holy crap. It completely wasted. Oh, I didn't know that even happened. Huh. I did use it with Rod down here. Probably just playing the jukebox. Holy crap. No. So I don't even need it. Look how much power, wow, from that one thermal plant outside. Okay, so this is the base, let's show you the base. So So this is a cool, the aquarium is kind of weird, huge, when you build it in a large room. I don't think you can configure the size, it's only the size, it's just kind of a weird size, it's like half what's the length of the room. Got a crab in there that I discovered, and the eggs are deep. But these, what are they called? They're the main fish in the first Subnautica game, and they're, the peepers, yeah. I believe they're the best fish for food after being cooked in the first game. So I ended up doing that and growing them for food in the aquariums in this game. But as I mentioned, I barely used them because, yeah, 32 food. So that's one of the best natural food sources. I haven't tried all the fish, but I'm pretty sure that's probably the best, or it's got to be in the top fish best for food. I got loads of speakers here for music. I actually put in the bulkheads. Totally didn't need them. I had them kind of more for blocking the sound. I was just curious about the sound. Totally unnecessary. It's not really working. Oh, it's coming through the other side, maybe. So there's the command center. Yeah, all right. When I was saying, I first built this section here, and I didn't have a beacon, so I actually had a hard time coming back and finding it. I wrote down on a piece of paper, like, what is it, I wrote down like 610 meters depth, Omega Lab 645 meters southeast. I actually wrote down like some to try to triangulate my location here because I didn't have a beacon, so that's another tip. Bring a darn beacon. I completely forgot. I think I was loaded up with base building materials and I just didn't have a beacon. And so I couldn't even, I had trouble finding the space again after. These were my initial lockers. I ended up just taking from them later. And silver, there's so much silver in the game, you kind of, no problem finding that. These you need so much coral, and that's not down here, I don't think, so I had to bring it from somewhere else. Really annoying to go out. You have to leave this whole, like you saw how long it took to get down here, and to go back up and collect it. It's pretty annoying, so I think I came back with a bunch. But lead is tough to find in the game, and coral is it's not there when you need it, basically. Yeah, so the scanner and a lot of materials down here, including, it does show the, you can scan for the, there's magnetite, nickel ore and kyanite, they're like, I guess the rarer materials because they're so deep. But it seems like you don't really need that many of them. It's really late in the game, you only build, maybe one or two technologies with it, and that's it. So you never pick it up again. Uraninite crystal as well. As I mentioned, I found most of my rods. Shadow, so that's, you can find the Shadow Leviathan. And there's what? Yeah, there's some down here. And if you got it to your HUD, which I think you need magnetite for that too, you can kind of track them going around. I use a scanner mostly for that, which, to try to sneak past them. Yeah. So yeah, that's. Let me see if I block the sound. Did I put a speaker on there? It's not blocking the sound as I expected. No. Oh, I guess it doesn't work like that. Yeah, so this is my last base. That's it. So hope you enjoyed some tips from there, and all my base builds. This glass stone. Oh yeah, when I built this at the very end, and it was totally useless as I expected because you're in a giant cave structure. You can just see some kyanite there. crystal, and sometimes blue crystal. So, hope you enjoyed the base. I'm curious to see your base designs. I just wanted to show mine. These large rooms I found were totally unnecessary, unless that was your whole base. But when you, but once you build these, you have to build a separate command center and a separate scanning bubble modules. So I feel like, this is kind of unnecessary. Actually, it's good for this kind of setup if you were a minimalist and you wanted, the filtration machine. I think that's why I did it. I wanted the filtration machine, a bioreactor, a nuclear reactor maybe. I want to have a backup when my rods deplete like this. That's why I got the thermal now instead of the bioreactor. And then also thrown in an aquarium, and then you don't have to build extra modules at all. So everything can be in one room. And I guess, I wonder, I didn't try like building a filtration machine. Probably can't be built in the moon pool right now. Yeah, I doubt it. So kind of, unnecessary, luxurious. Hope you enjoyed the video. Show me your builds. I'm curious to see it, but I'm pretty much done with the game otherwise, and I just want to see what I haven't seen in the game yet. So, cheers. Hope you enjoyed.